Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another live stream. And it's another Friday deadline. And as I've said a couple of times this week, because I want people to not miss the deadlines, the next one after this is a Tuesday. So we've got Friday, Tuesday. And then after that, we've got like 10 days till the next deadline, which I believe is a Saturday again. Let me know in the chat. Do you prefer a Saturday? Do you prefer a Friday? I guess it depends what time zone you're in and if you work from home and stuff like that. Obviously, if you're at work, you probably prefer the Saturday stream to the Friday ones. Friday vibes. Why didn't Dango rise? Yeah, so do I regret making the move? Potentially. We'll discuss in a second. Even Nielsen news might have made that not the best move. But essentially, it sounds like since the introduction of the assistant manager chip, the threshold for price changes has gone up quite a lot. There's a couple of reasons for this. They might have actually manually, deliberately done something that they just was like, you know what, with everything going on with the assistant manager chip, we're going to make the threshold for transfers and price changes a little bit higher. Or someone made a good point that actually what they might have done is code it so that when chips are active, the threshold is higher. And because so many people are playing chips at the moment, maybe that has just naturally increased the threshold based on the way that they've coded the website. So basically, every single site, like whether you use Fantasy Football Hub or Live FPL, or all of the sites that you've got for price changes, they were all wrong. So it's not like one site just did a terrible job. Everyone got the price changes wrong because they've changed the algorithm in some way. And it sounds like largely what they've done is just increase the threshold. But like I said, it doesn't necessarily make it a bad transfer. If you moved early, most people probably would have made that move anyway. So it's not the end of the world. But yeah, it would be nice to just have a bit more understanding and consistency, I guess, is the best way for me to word it. Anyway, let's jump into the stream. So, this is the team. I was going to say this is the team as things stand. I think largely I'm pretty happy with it. So, I've made 2 transfers already. I made the Dango move on my video last night. If you watch the video, you'll know. So, I brought in Dango for Rodgers, and then I've already done the GLASNER move. I don't want to overthink it on the stream. I don't want to think about it anymore. I'm pretty sure that GLASNER's the one I want, so that's where I'm going to go. So I've already brought GLASNER in. Again, I don't think anything's going to happen in the next 2 hours, which massively puts me off, and if it does, it will be funny for you guys to watch at least. But yeah, then I'm happy with the team now. If I look at that overall, it's very, very strong. Now, the reason that I say that if I might not have moved X, Y, Z is Even Nielsen apparently is not far from a return. Now, the thing is, I spoke about this in my videos all week. We knew that Even Nielsen was not far, right? We knew that Even Nielsen was close to a return. And so when I saw the quotes come out from Iraola that Even Nielsen was not far away, I was like, yeah, fair, I still want Dango. But I made the mistake, or maybe not made the mistake, but I then went out and watched the press conference. And you can actually, if you just type in Bournemouth on YouTube, you can go and watch the Bournemouth press conference if you want to. The way that Iraola worded it, let me try and explain the tone. It was like, oh no, he's not far at all. Obviously, he's Spanish, not from Essex, but you get the idea. He was like, no, he's not far, he's not far. And then he went on to explain, because it's a bone injury, not a muscle injury, it's not like they have to ease him back in because it's a muscle issue. It's literally just, once the bone has recovered, he can go straight back in the team. So I do worry a little bit that with Even Nielsen back, Dango's minutes will be affected. My inclination was that Dango's been playing so well. If Even Nielsen does come back in the 11 and start, it's probably going to be then Dango pushed out to the wing. So what we would see as a front 4 is Cliver in the 10, Even Nielsen as the number 9, and then probably Dango on the left and Semenyo on the right. But a couple of Bournemouth fans seem to believe that Tavernier is first choice, ahead of maybe someone like a Dango. And so that even if Even Nielsen is starting as the forward, then maybe it might potentially be the case that Semenyo on the left and then Tavernier on the right, potentially. So I guess what I'm saying is, I don't know. But I still think Dango is fine. Like, if you still want to go out there and buy Dango, almost definitely you'll get the next 2 starts. Because, I mean, the next game after this is on Tuesday or Wednesday for Bournemouth, right? So Even Nielsen's not going to be back for the next 2 game weeks. I think it's Spurs they've got in 28. That would be the first game that he could be. I reckon you probably get up until game week 29 for Dango, stress-free. But around 29-30, I think it will start to get a bit dicey. So if you're looking to wildcard in 35, I'd go for Semenyo. If you're looking to wildcard in between 30 and 32, I think you can go Dango, Cliver, or Semenyo. Hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, I'm still happy with the transfer. See, those are my 2 moves. I do have a third free transfer, and I have 1.1 million in the bank. So I do have the possibility of making another move, but I don't plan on it at the moment. Izzy Gaming says, Ross, you beautiful scallop. Hello. Slot to Palace manager or keep slot. Bring in Welbeck for Ndiaye or just roll. I quite like Welbeck for Ndiaye, actually. I think that's a really nice transfer. I mean, if you can afford Wissa or Cunha, I would do that. But I'm going to go under the assumption that you can't. I actually really don't mind that at all. You could even go for Delap. Like, I know a lot of people prefer Delap, but I quite like Welbeck as a shout. And also, Ndiaye's like injured. Like, you can't really go anywhere anyway. Stefan says, bench Wood. I don't mind benching Wood, but Wood is very inevitable, isn't he? I'm starting Isak, Semenyo, Dango, Palmer, Watkins, Salah, and Mbermo. Yeah, you know what? If that was my team, I would bench Chris Wood. But he's on penalty, so I think the other player that you could potentially look to bench is maybe Semenyo. But I think it would be between Semenyo and Wood for me, and I'd probably go Wood. Liam says, hi Ross, same team as you, but Sanchez in goal. Okay, which goalkeeper to replace him or leave him in? Exactly the same team as me. If you've got exactly the same team as me, I would go Kepa. If you've got 2 Bournemouth players already, I probably wouldn't block the third spot with Kepa. In which case, you could go to Henderson if you're free hitting in 29. If you're not free hitting in 29, who would I go for? I don't really like any of the... Maybe Jose Sarr, potentially. I would go Kepa, Liam, as long as you've not already got 2 Bournemouth players. Joseph Stack says, sup Ross, hope yourself and Pickle are okay. We're doing very well, thank you. I am getting the train to Birmingham this evening after the deadline stream to go and see Pickle in Birmingham. So yeah, we're okay. We'll have a lovely weekend. Hopefully cheering on GLASNER together. Clivert Captain calling my name this week and thinking a short-term punt on Nkunku for 27-28. What are your thoughts? Clivert Captain's okay. I think the thing that puts me off Clivert more than anything is actually the minutes. He doesn't really get 90, so he might get like a 70, 75th minute sub, which puts me off slightly. Wolves haven't been awful, but I think they're without Agbadou. I think that's how you pronounce it. They're their new centre-back. So, yeah, do you know what? I really don't mind Clivert. I wouldn't do it in a million years because Clivert's underlying data is appalling from open play. But he's got the penalties and he's got the corners and he's a great finisher. And Bournemouth are flying at the moment. So, I'm not going to try and put you off, Clivert Captain. Short-term punt on Nkunku. I just think, like, are you in such a luxury position that you've got the ability to take short-term punts? Most people, Joseph, are really going to be struggling for 29. If your team is so well set up, or you're free hitting in 29 and you don't need to think about building towards it, yeah, Nkunku for 27, 28 could be nice. I would just probably, in that case, still go for Wissa or Cunha. Or even, again, someone like a Danny Welbeck. I'm really jealous of everyone that can get Cunha, to be honest. So you've predicted Fulham 1, Crystal Palace 1, but picked GLASNER. You do realise that you get a table bonus for a draw, don't you? So a GLASNER 1-1 draw would be a 9-pointer. That would be a very, very decent result. It's probably going to slightly outscore Slot. Also, I can't predict the future. I think it will be a close game, but could Crystal Palace nick it? Absolutely. But I'm not just going to predict a Crystal Palace win just because I've gone for GLASNER. I think it'll be a close game, so I've gone 1-1. But I understand why you're a bit confused why I would predict a draw and go for GLASNER. I get it. Yes, well remembered, Zodiac. Yeah, if you're enjoying the stream so far, to the 2,000 people that are here nice and early, can I please ask you to drop a like on the stream? It really supports the channel. But also make sure to subscribe. We're about 100 subscribers away from 146,000. So if you are one of the people in here that aren't yet subscribed, please do consider subscribing. Have you got GLASNER in already? Yeah, surely my screen's not that bad to look at. But in case you're not looking and you're just listening, do you know what? I'll read out my team for those that are just listening or for those that are visually impaired. I do always forget. I remember when I did the episode with Blind Tobes on FPL Therapy, he said that it's nice when people read stuff out. So, if you aren't watching or you can't watch, my team currently is Pickford in goal, Gabriel, Munoz, Trent, midfield of Salah, Mbermo, Palmer, Dango, and I brought Dango in for Rodgers, and then a front line of Isak, Wood, and Mateta. And then my bench is Fabianski, Robinson, Enzo, Vandenberg. And yes, I've already made the move of Slot to GLASNER. So the two things that I've already done are Dango in for Rodgers and GLASNER in for Slot. I've got one transfer left and 1.1 million in the bank. Finally, a week where Salah isn't 200% EO. No, but you won't be far off it, to be fair. You won't be far off it. Who should I bench out of Rodgers, Cunha, Kluivert? I'd bench the one that's not on penalty, so Rodgers. Bench Palmer or Dango or Clivert? That's so... I would probably bench Dango there. I just think Palmer's on set pieces and pens, and it's Palmer. But Dango's got the better fixture, and he's playing as the 9. I think I'd probably bench Dango, Robert, but I wouldn't bench Clivert, right? Because I think objectively, Clivert is probably a marginally better pick than Dango. The reason I went Dango is bit of vibes, slightly lower owned, and also he's cheaper. But if I was picking between the two each week, Clivert's probably slightly better. So I think it's Dango or Palmer. I would probably bench Dango. Hey, Ross, any comments on Gakpo? No, the only thing we've seen on Gakpo is that he's a close call. That's it. I don't know. I think I would probably look to sell him regardless. I don't think he's a fantastic hold, even if he's fit, given that he blanks in 29. I don't think the fixture's as great as people are suggesting against City. I think they're trending in the right direction. Nico Gonzalez has been really good. So, yeah, I would probably be looking to sell Gakpo, if you want my opinion. Do you think the move at slot to GLASNER means you think GLASNER will significantly outscore slot, be more than 4 points the baseline value of a transfer? Not that I necessarily think he will. I just think he has a chance to do so. Like, really, I'm not looking for a GLASNER draw. A GLASNER draw would be fine, but I'm chasing the win. So, do I think that Palace will beat Fulham? Not necessarily, but of the table bonus games, I think that the disparity between the two teams is the lowest or the closest in the Fulham Crystal Palace game. Like, I think Brentford are a much better team than Leicester. I think that Arsenal are a much better team than West Ham. Bournemouth are a much better team than Wolves. I think that Spurs should be a much better team than Ipswich. And Brighton are a much better team than Southampton. The only one that I think is really quite close is I think Fulham and Palace aren't that far away from each other in terms of quality. And also, Crystal Palace are really good away from home. So that's kind of... I don't think they'll win, but I think they have a chance to win. Hopefully that makes sense. It might sound a bit counterintuitive. Scuba Steve says, Daddy Raptor. I was going to say that is me, but I won't call myself that. Sorry for incoming headache. Slot assistant manager. 1 free transfer. Wanyeri, Salah, Palmer, Clivert, Diaz, Wissa, Mateta, Isak. Who's the best to start? Thoughts? Have a great game week. So you need to bench one of those players. Yeah, that is a bit of a headache, to be fair, isn't it? Do you know what? It might be Luis Diaz. It might be Luis Diaz in that situation. I wouldn't bench Wissa. Great fixture. I wouldn't bench Isak, Salah, obviously. I wouldn't bench Palmer, Clivert. It's probably Wanyeri or... No. It's probably Wanyeri, Diaz, or Mateta, Scuba Steve. I would probably bench Luis Diaz there. I don't love that, though, at all. Pratik says, love your work as always. Thank you very much. In midfield, I have Salah, Palmer, Clivert, Rodgers, and Sarr. Do you reckon a transfer for me? Don't plan on free hit 29. P.S. I've Kirkes, Wissa, and no money for Mbermo. I don't think you need a transfer this week desperately, but if you are going to, it's probably Semenyo or Dango. I don't know. Doesn't feel like screams desperate need for a transfer. Like, Rodgers and Sarr aren't necessarily the ideal cheap midfielders, but they're also not that bad. I think you could save that Pratik, but depending how many free transfers you've got available, I also don't mind a move from... I'd probably sell Rodgers before Sarr. So I'd probably do something like Rodgers to Semenyo or Rodgers to Dango. Hi, Ross. Bench 1, Luis Diaz or João Pedro? I'd bench João Pedro because I don't think he'll start again. Whereas Luis Diaz, I think, probably does start. Dan says, hi, Ross. Start one of Trent Hall Robinson. Trent Hall Robinson. Start one. I would start Lewis Hall, probably, of those three. Wissa differential captaincy shout. I actually really don't mind a captaincy shout on Wissa. Wissa is one of those players that can get a really high quantity of chance. Wissa could get 4 big chances in this game, and I wouldn't be shocked. And if he just... In a given game, if he can just get a bit luckier and just find these shooting boots, he could absolutely go massive. So, do you know what? I would put Wissa up there in the top sort of 6 captaincy options this week. Really don't mind a Wissa differential. Shout. I would like to own Wissa this week, but I just don't really want to sell any of my 3 forwards. Liam says, thoughts on Slot and João Pedro to T-Frank, to Thomas Frank and Wissa for a -4. Feels wrong removing João Pedro for Southampton, but I love Wissa. I just don't think João Pedro starts. I mean, he could. João Pedro could go back into the 11, and then you've removed a penalty-taking forward against Southampton, which feels awful. But Slot and João Pedro to Frank and Wissa go all in on Brentford. I don't mind that. I will just say, Thomas Frank's not the most exciting pick this week because there's no table bonus. But again, I don't dislike that. Toby says, Pedro and Slot to Wissa and GLASNER for a -4. Yeah, I'm a big fan of that. Or Concert to Kirkes and play ends. Play ends. Who's ends? Or Concert to Kirkes. I like Concert to Kirkes as well. I mean, I arguably could do all of those, but I like Pedro and Slot to Wisser and GLASNER, Toby. I'm a big fan of that. Bench Palmer or Gordon? Oh, that's a really tough one because I quite fancy Newcastle to get a decent win against Forest. I would bench Gordon. I'd bench Gordon. I couldn't bench Palmer, I'm sorry. Gordon to Mbeumo for free or stick? I'd probably go for it. This is the week to do it. Gordon blanks in 29. I'd probably do it because you're really attacking the Leicester fixture then. So as much as I think Gordon's fine for this week, Mbeumo is better. 1 free transfer, Slot to GLASNER or Holt, 5 blanks in 29. If you've only got 5 blanks in 29, I'd probably make the move. Dan says, Fulham have a 32% chance of a clean sheet. Liverpool 17% chance of a clean sheet. Fulham's expected goals is 1.52. Liverpool is 1.54. Time for Robinson over Trent with the City fixture. I think if you've got, for me, I've got GLASNER and Mateta. So for me, no. I don't think it makes much sense to start Robinson when I've got triple Palace, including an assistant manager on GLASNER and Mateta in there. But I think if you've got no Mateta, maybe no Munoz, and you don't have GLASNER, like if you've not really got any Crystal Palace players and you're not really putting all your eggs in that basket, then yeah, maybe Robinson over Trent's not awful. I do think, though, as you've kind of pointed out, it's probably relatively close between the pair. I don't back Fulham 32% chance for a clean sheet feels a little high to me. And maybe Liverpool 17% was a little low, but also Trent is more attacking than Robinson. So I think it's close. Munoz versus Rodgers. I'd start Rodgers ahead of Munoz, I think. Mateta hat-trick incoming. That would be the dream. Mateta hat-trick would, my season would propel me into the upper ranks. To get a big score from Mateta and get all the points for GLASNER as well. That'd be the dream. Callum says, Sells, Mikalenko, Gabriel, Hall, Salah, Palmer, Semenyo, Mbeumo, Rodgers, Mateta, Isak, bench of Anderson, Gakpo, Greaves, assistant manager on Emery. What are your thoughts? 1 free transfer, trying to save free, hit 29. So in 29, how many blankers do you have? You've got Hall, Salah, Rodgers, Mateta, Isak, Gakpo. Yeah, and then you've got potential issues with Greaves. Maybe that's just it there. I mean, the team's not awful. You're going to have to take hits, I think, Callum. So I'd probably just accept that over the coming weeks, hits will need to happen if you want to save the free hit. I think I would use a free transfer still to replace Emery for a table bonus manager, personally. So I would do Emery to GLASNER, McKenna, Pereira, Ruud van Nistelrooy, one of the table bonus managers. And then next week, maybe look to deal with Gakpo. That'd probably be what I do. So yeah, this week, Emery to GLASNER or something like that. And then next week, do something like Gakpo to Cunha or Wisser. Pravdeep says, Hi Ross, my team is, okay, any change you would make? That's a nice team, mate. Really strong. Yeah, I mean, Howson in there already, Cliver, you got Mbeumo, front line's exactly the same as mine. I mean, the team's not far off mine, in fact, is it? It's just slightly better. You've basically got my team, but slightly better. No, I wouldn't make any changes necessarily. I mean, assistant manager might be the only one, but you've not told me if you've got the chip active. But no, with that team, you don't really need to make a transfer there at all. I think, like I said, it basically looks like mine, but slightly better. Gakpo to Marmoush or Cunha? I'd go Cunha. I think Cunha's a better asset at the moment. On penalties, all set pieces, whereas Marmoush is only on about half of them. And I just think Cunha is more essential to what Wolves are doing. In any attack, Cunha's likely to be involved. MN Chuckster, good to see you, my friend. Says, hi, Ego. Emery / Gakpo to GLASNER / Cunha for a -4. Or just go for GLASNER for free. Bench Gakpo and start Sarr. Oh, that's actually a very difficult one, isn't it? Thanks for all the great videos. No worries at all, my friend. Oh, you always ask me very difficult questions. Would I do Gakpo to Cunha for a -4 or just start Sarr? I think I'll just start Sarr and do it next week. I don't know that Cunha this week is 4 points better than Sarr. And you get a little bit more information. Maybe you decide, if Marmoush grabs another hat-trick, you maybe go, hang on a second, I'm going to go for Marmoush rather than Cunha. Yeah, I'd probably leave that transfer, mate. Who to start from, Mikalenko, Robinson, or Munoz? Oh, that's a tough one. If you've got no Mateta, I think Robinson's probably the one. The reason I'm not starting Robinson is, like I said, all of my eggs are in the Crystal Palace basket. But in isolation, I think Robinson's probably the best asset of the bunch there. Lucar says, I'm not on free hit 29. Would you go Mateta to Cunha game week 27? No. Mateta's got Ipswich at home in 28. If you're going to sell Mateta to Cunha, it's in 29. That's when I'll do it, right? Because Mateta blanks, Cunha's got Southampton. It's a risk-free transfer, essentially. Whereas I think if you make it then, Mateta's got, I think, Villa next week, right? If I'm not mistaken, let me check that. And then Ipswich. Yeah, so Villa, Ipswich. I'd want him for this fixture here. Yeah, I don't think I'd make that move in 27. I'd make it in 29. Taylor says, captaincy is currently between Mbeumo and Isak, but Arsenal predicted to score the most makes Nwaneri tempting. What are your thoughts? I mean, the thing is, Mbeumo and Isak have a long history of returning points, and they're both on penalties, whereas Nwaneri's not. I don't actually mind Nwaneri captain, but I would back the penalty takers with good historical data and assets that we know we can trust. Like, Nwaneri is still very young. Yeah, I think I would prefer... I would probably say in order, I would say Isak and Mbeumo Nwaneri for me, Taylor. Also, I'm not on GLASNER. Good idea to back Fulham and start Robinson over Munoz. Yeah, do you know what? If you're not keen on GLASNER or you're not on GLASNER, maybe you go all in on Fulham. Because not only will it backfire for me if GLASNER and Munoz don't do very well, but if you've got Robinson, you can also gain on those that use the chip on GLASNER. When are you planning to bench boost / free hit? Almost definitely. Bench boost 33, free hit 34. 33 is going to be the biggest double game week of the season, and 34 is going to be the biggest blank game week of the season. So it makes sense to use the two chips then, I think. Who to bench from Wood or Dango? Good luck this week. Thank you very much. That's extremely close. I would bench Wood. No. Yes, I'd bench Wood. Just about, but I think that is very close. Pravdeep says, I haven't got assistant manager. Should I get it or do it later? No, Pravdeep, I think if you've not used the assistant manager, I think your two best positions now is 31 to 33 or 36 to 38. So I wouldn't use... If you've not already activated the assistant manager, I would leave it now. Ross Fraser has become a Rep Tier 2 member. Thank you very much, Ross. What a fantastic name. Hi, Ross. Thanks for the content. Makes it way more fun. I appreciate you being here as always, Nash United. Would you do slot to GLASNER using the last transfer, given next week I want Cunha and Palmer, therefore a -4? I mean, slot to GLASNER for a -4 is about the only hit I like for an assistant manager because you're chasing the upside. Like, I wouldn't do slot to Arteta for a hit. But if you really back an assistant manager that's got a table bonus, then go for it. Because they will outscore... If GLASNER gets the win, he's going to outscore Slot by more than 4 points. Almost, in fact, definitely guaranteed. Unless Slot goes and wins like 7-0, he's not getting within 4 points of GLASNER if GLASNER also wins. So I would probably go for it. But only if you've got a really good feeling. I wouldn't do Slot to GLASNER for a -4 if you're not that sure on it. Hi, Ross. Start Rodgers or Elanga? That's a tough one. I'd probably go Rodgers for the home fixture. Bring in Dango if Evanilson is coming back. It probably puts me off Dango like 10%. I still think Dango's fine. But you're probably not going to get beyond... You're probably not going to get beyond game week 29. Maybe even 29 could be an issue in terms of secure minutes. Dango could carry on starting every game on the left or right wing. But Evanilson will come back into that lineup. They were really good with Evanilson in the team. And he's not just going to sit on the bench. So Semenyo's the safe one. He's the boring one because he's not really shown much haul ability. And he's probably the worst finisher of the three. But Semenyo's minutes are just ridiculously secure. So it's up to you what you're looking at, to be honest. Hi, Russ. I have Isak Cunha Wissa. Would you do slot to table manager or Isak to Mateta? Keeping in mind, I'd like to bring in Haaland in 29. I wouldn't do Isak to Mateta. That feels like a waste. I'd do slot to a table manager, Dave. Hi, Russ. Rodgers for Dango, Cliver, or Nwaneri? I think Cliver's probably the best bet. I think probably Cliver. Nash United says, Ross, why not captain a Bournemouth mid given Wolves still concede 2 per game and Bournemouth score a lot? Thanks. I just don't fancy it. I think with Cliver, his minutes haven't been great. His underlying data is not quite there. And therefore, he's reliant on a really good finish or penalties or set pieces, which is great, right? He's got multiple routes to points. You guys know how much I love that in an asset. So Clivert's probably the best captaincy option of the Bournemouth mids. But the minutes are slightly off-putting. He doesn't get 90. And then with Dango, no penalties, no set pieces. They are getting players back. Even Dango's not secure to get 90. And you've got like Isak and Mbeumo there and Salah. All three of them will get 90 minutes or very close to it. They're all on penalties. Mbeumo takes some set pieces. I just love those 3 assets in comparison to the Bournemouth mids. That's the only reason. But if you've got a good feeling about the Bournemouth midfielders, do it. Hi, Ross. Start 3 of Wissa, Beto, Semenyo, Kluivert. I'd probably... Wouldn't bench Wissa or Kluivert. It'd be between Beto and Semenyo, Jordan. I'd probably bench Semenyo and start Beto. Man United are all over the place. Beto's probably on pens. Take your pick between Beto and Semenyo, but I'll rule out Wissa and Kluivert for you. Bench Wood or Trossard? Oh, definitely bench Wood. You've got to start Trossard. I think Trossard's a captaincy option. If I had Trossard, I'd be tempted. I have Sells, Trent, Gabriel, Howson, Salah, Semenyo, Kluivert, Mbeumo, Wood, Isak, Wissa. Lovely team. Bench of Fabianski, Palmer. Palmer on the bench. Wow. Sorry, it made me choke. Robinson, O'Shea. Slot assistant manager, 1 free transfer, 0.6 in the bank. Any advice? My advice would be don't bench Palmer, but that's just me. In terms of the transfer, yes, probably slot to a table bonus manager. McKenna, Rude, Glasner, Pereira, Juric, Potter, whoever tickles your pickle, basically. But I like the idea of an assistant manager transfer there. Otherwise, you can just roll. The team's looking super strong, Scott. Jim says, would you take a minus to go Crystal Palace manager? Only if you really fancy it. That's kind of... I'm going to try and just give that answer every time. The only way I would sell Slot or Emery for a -4 to buy Glasner is if you've got a really, really strong, good, solid gut feeling about it. If you really think that Glasner could get the win, then do it. Don't do it if you're a bit unsure, because you're losing 4 points immediately. And if Slot gets a win, well, then Glasner needs to get 12 plus just to pay back what you've lost in the Slot on the hit. So you need to be really confident in it to take a hit, I think. So I'll leave that in your hands, basically. Thomas says, hi, Ross. I have 1 free transfer. Would you do Slot to Emery / Glasner? Slot to Emery / Glasner. Why would you buy him anyway? Or Rodgers to Dango? Or would you take a -4 and do both? So, again, I think Rodgers to Dango would be the first choice for me, which is what I did. And then the second choice is if you want to buy Glasner for a -4. Sorry, I meant Arteta. Okay, that makes more sense. I was reading that thinking, hang on a second. I wouldn't do it for Arteta. Wouldn't take it for Arteta. I would take it for Glasner, but only if you've got a really good feeling about it. Hopefully that makes sense. Like, you've got to be really confident in it. Whoa, big super chat from Nash United. My friend, you don't need to do that. Anything I can do to support you is money well spent. That's very kind, but also you don't need to, but thank you so much. I stayed at work longer to watch this, even though I'm headed to the casino as soon as I walk out. That's a big sacrifice. Keep doing what you do. We all appreciate it. I appreciate you, and I hope you have a great evening at the casino. Let me know what you're doing at the casino. Let me know what you do at the casino. I've only been to the casino a few times. I tend to lose more money than I would want, so I think it's best if I don't do it. But yeah, thank you very much for the support. It's very kind. You're all very kind. Anyone that's sat here watching right now, I appreciate you. But if you are watching and you've not liked, I still appreciate you. But can you drop a like on the stream? And also subscribe as well. Right. Where was I? Massive, massive legend, Old Nash United. I feel weird when I don't call people by their names, but that's the name that I'm given. Start one between Hall, Munoz, and Howson. I'd go Lewis Hall. Would Dango in for Rodgers make sense, even if I already have Kluivert? Yeah, I think a double up on the Bournemouth mids is brilliant. Double up on the Bournemouth mids is really solid. Slot to Glasner and Ahmad to Mbeumo for a -4. Ahmad to Mbeumo, yeah, do you know what? As a combination, I'm just going to say yes. That's such a good set of moves. Luke R says, keepers are Alisson and Fabianski. No free hit available. Would you move Alisson this week to someone who covers 29 or play Alisson and change Fabianski in 29? I'd probably make the move now. I'd probably go for Raya or Kepa. Oh, that was the other keep you could go for. I still don't mind Raya, but he's obviously quite expensive. But yeah, I think Raya and Kepa would be my top 2. I also think Jose Sarr is still a very decent option as well. If he keeps his place. Like, I don't know for certain that he keeps his place ahead of Johnston, but I think he does. What do you think of my predictions, chat, on the left-hand side of the screen? I've added that as a little thing, just for a bit of interest. I've not predicted any teams to score 4 goals. The highest scoring game that I've predicted is Ipswich Spurs. JML says, hi Ross, what is the best chip strategy option for my team? I was really trying not to cough then. One sec, I'm going to have a drink of water and then I'll go back. My throat gave up then. That sounds sus. Sorry, what is the best chip strategy for my team? I've got wildcard, free hit, bench boost, and triple captain left. Okay, wildcard, okay. I've full 11 for Gameweek 29 with transfers, thanks. In that case, it's wildcard 31, triple captain 32, bench boost 33, and free hit 34. So you basically go 4 game weeks in a row playing a chip from 31 to 34. Hopefully that helps, JML. Leo says, hi, handsome. Who to captain? Wissa, Trossard, Semenyo. Ooh. So I won't go Semenyo. So it would be between Wissa and Trossard. I quite like both Wissa and Trossard. I think if I had to choose one, I would marginally lean towards Wissa, just because I think he's such a monster in terms of getting the chances. But I do like Trossard a lot. Yeah, I'd go Wissa just about, Leo. Detlef says, slot Gakpo Rogers to GLASNER, Wissa, and Burmo for a -4. I love that. Can't get to Cunha. Okay. Bench 1 of Gordon, Semenyo, Palmer, and bench 2 of Timber, Robinson, Munoz, Hall. Gordon, Semenyo, Palmer. I'd probably bench just about Gordon, but it's very close. Bench 2 of Timber, Robinson, Munoz, Hall. Probably Munoz and Robinson, and I'd start Timber and Hall. But yeah, I quite like that set of transfers for a -4. Lewis says Emery and Rogers to GLASNER and Clive at -4. Yeah, again, only do the Emery to GLASNER part if you're confident in GLASNER. Not even necessarily confident, but like you really want to back it. Don't do it just because I'm doing it or because you're seeing other people do it. Like you've got to be really sure to take a -4 on the managers, I think. Nashi says, poker at the casino. Very nice. Good luck this week. We'll listen in the car. Very nice. I hope you win all of the money. Jay Saunders says, insane bench this week. Wood, Trent, and Robinson on your bench. Worcester and Isak up top. Double Arsenal defence and Munoz. Am I crazy? Robinson to Kirkes and start him. I don't think you need to sell Robinson to Kirkes when you've already got a benching headache. I would probably start Trent ahead of... I'd probably start Trent ahead of Munoz. Just about. But I think that is very close. Yeah, that's a crazy bench. I mean, if you had a better goalkeeper, you could arguably bench boost that, mate. You could arguably bench boost that. Rogers to Wanyeri, is it a good move? Yeah, I quite like it, actually. Maybe I should have gone Wanyeri rather than Dango. I like it a lot. Good to see you, Lukey boy. Hope you are well. Yarge10 says, should I do Ndai to Cunha for next game week as soon as the deadline ends, as both are changing in price anytime and already tight with budget? Yeah, do you know what? I will just say early transfers for 27 isn't as bad because remember the deadline's on Tuesday. So if there are a lot of potential price changes tonight, and again, the predictions are difficult at the moment because they've changed the algorithm. But yeah, Ndai to Cunha tonight, it's risky, but I don't hate it. Like, Cunha's got a pretty good injury record. It's a double swing, probably. Discover with Sim, good to see you. Hey, dude, it's like the 70th minute of a football season, making decisions to chase from behind. P.S. Looking forward to reading your book, love. I appreciate that, my friend. Thank you for buying the book. It does feel like that point of the season, doesn't it? Like, it's like it's not the final moments where, you know, like an all Hail Mary or you play really safe and park the bus. It's that awkward in-between stage. Yeah, we're midway through the second half, and it's starting to get a little bit dicey. I like that analogy. I agree very much. Thank you very much, though. I appreciate it as always. Martin says, still have bench boost free hit, assistant manager wildcard. So I would go... see, that's a little bit trickier. I think what I would do there, probably at the moment, is wildcard 32, bench boost 33, free hit 34, and then assistant manager in 35 or 36. Hope that makes sense, Martin. So, yeah. Wildcard 32, bench boost 33, free hit 34, and then assistant manager for 3 of the final 4 weeks. Would you move Hall, Ahmad to who? I wouldn't sell Hall yet. Ahmad I would sell. You've only got 0.2. I'd probably look at someone like Wanyeri or Dango. Is it time to move Van Dijk on? You could sell Van Dijk, but he's got Southampton coming off. I think you probably don't need to sell Van Dijk until 29, actually. But yeah, I don't mind selling Ahmad to one of Dango or Wanyeri. FBK says, hi Ross, should I do Ahmad to Trossard or Ndiaye to Cunha/Wissa? Oh, that's a tough one. I quite like both of those. Ahmad to Trossard's nice. Ndiaye to Wissa's also nice. And Cunha. I would go Ndiaye to Cunha or Wissa. Would I? Trossard's so good for this week. I like him a lot. Oh, I'd go Ndiaye to Cunha or Wissa. And in terms of who you go for, Wissa's got the more upside this week, but Cunha's a better long-term pick. So it's like, how much do you want to attack this week in front of you? Matoma or Trossard? Keep up the great work, Russ. Thank you, Dean. I prefer Trossard to Matoma. Jake says, who to bench out of Hall, Mikalenko, and Munoz? I'd bench... I think I'd bench Mika. I wouldn't bench Hall. I'd bench Mikalenko or Munoz. Munoz has more attacking threat. Mikalenko, I think, has a greater chance for a clean sheet. I would probably start Munoz and hope for a big score. So I'd bench Mikalenko there. Jack says, one free transfer with Semenyo, Emery/Glasner, or Sarr for Dango. I think Emery to Glasner's got more upside than Sarr to Dango, so I would probably go for the manager transfer. Villa says Rodgers/Slot to Mbeumo/Glasner, or keep Slot and need the transfer for 29. As long as it's for free, I still think Rodgers and Slot to Mbeumo and Glasner looks beautiful. I'd probably do that. I'd probably go for it. Justin says Rodgers and Pedro to Semenyo and Wissa with 2 free transfers would mean benching Wood and sticking with Slot for assistant manager. I'm currently looking at wildcard 30 to 32-ish. Yeah, I love those 2 transfers, to be fair. Sorting out Pedro, moving off of Rodgers, is probably a better use of your transfers in that case, Justin, than the assistant manager one. So, yeah, do you know what? I've got no issue with those 2 transfers. I think they look good. And listen, Slot probably will get the win. He's probably going to come away with 8 or 9 points, and the transfer's probably not going to have been worth it. Ali G says Slot to Arteta or Rodgers to Wanyeri. I prefer Rodgers to Wanyeri. I think Slot to Arteta is not that high upside for me. Jordan says, hi Ross, start Rodgers or João Pedro? Hello, Jordan. I would start Rodgers, home fixture, and also guaranteed to start. Like, João Pedro might not start again, and then it's a bit of a disaster. Ross Fraser said, sold Bruno to Cliver, Rodgers to Dango, and Pedro to Cunha. Beautiful moves. My 11 then is Hendo, Trent, Munoz, Robinson, Mo, Brian, Dango, Cliver, Wissa, Isak, Cunha, and Slot. That is a ridiculous team. Great team. Benching Palmer to play Cunha versus Bournemouth. And bench Howson too. What are your thoughts? I don't love benching Cunha. I don't love benching Palmer. But then I don't love benching Cunha either. Oh, you've got a real benching headache there. I'd probably bench Cunha and start Palmer if it was me. The thing is, you're benching Cunha and Howson. So you're benching the attacker and the defender in the same game. I would probably start Palmer, but I'm a Palmer fanboy, Ross. And if you're not, then it's fine. Just bench Palmer. I just love Palmer. I think he's so good. I don't think I could ever bring myself to bench him. It's not due to his price. It's just what he can do on a football pitch. Lewis says, I might just play it safe and do Ahmad to Dango for free and bench Rodgers and keep Emery. What do you think? Yeah, I don't hate it. Emery probably is favourite to win that game, in my opinion. If I was to predict Chelsea or Villa to win that, I'd probably go Villa. I have it, in fact, in my predictions, gone Villa 2-1. The only concern is the amount of football that Villa have played recently, and Chelsea haven't played as many games. So I think Chelsea are going to be a little bit fresher in that game. Villa might be a little tired. So I don't think it's an easy one. Doug Plunger says, Salah, Palmer, Dango, Rodgers, Gordon. Who to sell and buy? Don't think you need to sell any of them desperately, but Rodgers would be the first player that I'd look to sell. You've got Dango, so probably Rodgers to Cliver or Semenyo or Wanyeri. Or you could do Gordon to Trossard. I'll say Rodgers to Cliver or Gordon to Trossard. Eric says, -4 for Ndiaye to Cunha or play Rodgers. I would just play Rodgers. I don't think Cunha's 4 points better than, or not definitely 4 points better than Rodgers this week. SM says, Arteta/McKenna or roll free transfer with Slot, can't decide. I think if you're really unsure, just keep Slot. But I think if you've got a really good gut feeling about McKenna, I like that. It really depends on how confident. I can't tell you to go for McKenna when I'm not confident on McKenna. But if you are, then you should do it. Lots of people look at Glasner and just go, what are you doing? Fulham are brilliant. I don't get it, which is fine. I said hi on stream. Oh, I missed it. Oh, hi, Pickle. If you're still listening, hello. I did miss that one. I do miss a lot of messages. I try my best, though. How long we got to the deadline? 1 hour and 18 minutes till the deadline. Can you give your thoughts on triple Bournemouth, please? What do you want my thoughts on? Like, yes. The answer is yes, I would. If you're asking which 3 Bournemouth, I think in an ideal world, it's probably Cliver, one of Semenyo or Rogers. One of Semenyo or Dango. Probably Semenyo for long term. The best, if money wasn't an issue, it's probably Kirkes, Semenyo, Cliver. But taking into account money, I think Dango, Cliver and Howson is probably the best 3. And also a shout out to Kepa as well. Anything I need to know, Ross? No, nothing you need to know. I've made my moves already. I've already brought in Dango and GLASNER. So you can, if you're still listening, Pickle, you can bring in Cliver and GLASNER. I'll just go for it now. I don't know that we're necessarily going to get anything that exciting in terms of early team news. I suppose it is Brentford, so maybe wait. Like, we might get some random news that Mbeumo or Wissa aren't available, but I doubt it. They're available for every game. So I think you could probably make early moves this week if you want to go now. Like, if you're out this evening and you just want to get it done, you probably can. I can't promise anything, but is Iraola being overlooked for assistant manager this week? Yeah, probably slightly. But he doesn't get the bonus. Again, and Wolves were really good against Liverpool after like the 40th minute. I don't think people realise how insane it is. They limited Liverpool, the best attack in Europe for me, to 0 shots after the 43rd minute. Wolves are a really decent outfit. Now, I do think Bournemouth win. Like, I've got here 3-1, but I don't know that it's a guarantee for me. I guess nothing's a guarantee in football. Keep Watkins or sell for Wissa. I'd probably keep Watkins this week. He looked really good, actually, against in the double. He got chances. Is GLASNER bonus? Yeah, GLASNER gets the bonus. Can we all just admit the assistant manager chip is the worst ever chip? I would agree with that. I think it is the worst chip that they've introduced to the game. Lots of people love it, though, and I don't want to be too much of a downer, but I don't like the chip. And yes, if GLASNER goes and gets me a 20-pointer, I still won't like the chip. Okay, there's nothing to do with me getting less points over the last 2 than like Moyes and Emery owns. I just don't think it's a good chip. Wanted to go for Vitor Pereira, but the Agbadou injury put me off. Yeah, that's the thing about Bournemouth. Like, Agbadou being out, he's been really good for them. I've just realised, is my egg still here? I missed the egg. I just looked at my OBS and just saw that there was an image, and I was like, what is that? That's the egg. The chip runs too long. It's blocking using other strategies. Yeah, that's the thing as well. Like, you can't... Like, maybe you decided you wanted a triple captain. Now it's too late. I just think there's a lot I don't like about it. But hey-ho. It might be that they don't bring it back for next year. Thoughts on Welbeck? Yeah, my thoughts are positive. Welbeck's been really good recently. He's actually not had many goal-scoring opportunities, though. If you look at the data, he's played well, but Brighton aren't quite clicking. So he's a good player, but I don't think he's necessarily like... I wouldn't be desperate to have him. James says, Wanyeri, Palmer, Wood, Isak or Cunha. Bench 1. Chris Wood for me, James. Ben says, hi Ross, only 1 free transfers. Do I A, Rogers to Dango, B, Allison to Flecken, C, Emery to GLASNER, or D, Roll? Also considered Ndiaye to Cunha, but can wait a week. I think of those moves, the highest upside is Emery to GLASNER, but the best move overall is probably Rogers to Dango. And I mean, I would say that because I've done both of those, but I would say A or C, Ben. Go for what feels best to you. You could also do both of them if you just got a really good feeling about GLASNER and you're happy to take a hit. I guess you'd have to have the money in the bank as well. The Beehive says, do I bench boost this team of Kepa, Gabriel, Trent, Howson, Rogers, Wanyeri, Palmer, Salah, Rao, Watkins, Isak? Bench of Flecken, Dango, Robinson and Robertson. So do you have any real doubts in there in terms of fitness? No. Flecken's got a good fixture, so has Kepa. Robertson's the only one I don't love there. Do you have any free transfers? Could you do something like Robertson to just a better defender for this week? I think that's a very decent bench. Do you know what? Yeah, I'd be tempted to bench boost that. I would. I'm not saying that I definitely would do it, but it would be a serious consideration for me. I don't think necessarily a bench boost in a double is going to be that much better. With such a good goalkeeper, Dango on your bench is crazy. I mean, in all fairness, I don't think you'd actually bench Dango. I think your bench would actually be Rodgers. So if it said Flecken, Rodgers, Robinson, Robertson, I'm sorry, your bench would be Rodgers, Robinson, Robertson. Anyway, I'm just making myself laugh. I think it's a serious bench boost opportunity, yeah. Mohar says, hi, move Slot to Glasner and play Sar, double down on Palace, or B, move Sar to Dango and keep Slot, or D, both for a -4, Glasner and Dango for Slot and Sar. I don't think you need to take that hit. I would lean towards double down on Palace, but only, again, if you've got a good feeling about Palace. Don't do it just because I've got Glasner or your favourite content creator, whoever it is, might have bought Glasner. I would only double down on Palace if you've got a good feeling. So yeah, I would probably go for the first one, but if you don't have a good feeling, then I would just do Sar to Dango. Tyler Helms says, sell Jacob Murphy for Dango. I quite like that. Or Wanyeri and bench Wood. Already have Kluivert and Semenyo. I mean, if you've already got a bit of a benching headache this week, then you probably don't need to just start Chris Wood. But overall, Murphy to Dango or Kluivert, Dango or Wanyeri feels very strong to me. I'd probably do it, but I equally don't really need to desperately. Cheeky smile, Ross. I get told I have a cheeky smile about 5 times a week at least. I don't mean to have a cheeky smile. How do people smile not cheeky? I guess it's just my smile, but I don't know how to smile in a non-cheeky way. Is that less cheeky? Don't know. Who knows? Is a -4 worth it for Ruud van Nistelrooy? If you think Ruud van Nistelrooy and Leicester beat Brentford, absolutely it's worth the -4. But if they don't, even if they get a draw, it's probably not worth it, is it? Wisser captain. I like Wisser captain. No issues from me. I hope Fulham beat Palace 5-0. That would be the biggest disaster. If Fulham beat Palace by 1 or 2 goals to 0, that is horror. I worked out, if Fulham beat Palace 2-0, Munoz, Mateta and Glasner between them will get a maximum of 3 points, and Robinson will get a minimum of 6 points. So if Fulham beat Palace 2-0, Robinson will outscore my triple Palace and assistant manager by 2-fold. That's horrible. Which brings me on to the question I keep getting so much: why are you benching Robinson? Because I've got Munoz, Mateta, and Glasner. I can't imagine if in my right mind I want to start Robinson, then I've done something wrong going for Glasner. Right? I'm backing Glasner to do something here. Captain Mbermo. Yeah, I've got no issue with Mbermo captain. I mean, it could ruin your weekend if he blanks tonight, but I think they'll get quite a few opportunities in this game. What's your opinion between Arteta and Glasner? I think Glasner is the higher upside. Arteta's the safer one for points. If you're really happy with where you're at, like you're protecting rank, probably just go for Arteta or Hertzler or someone like that, or Iraola. Go for one of the safer managers. If you start Robinson, you hedge your bets. I don't want to hedge my bets, though. I want to go all in. I do get what you're saying, but I don't want to hedge. I want to go for it. I believe in the dream. If you don't have triple Palace, would you start Robinson over Trent? I'd be a lot more interested in it. Yeah, I think that's definitely a conversation I'd have with myself. You could bench boost to cover the potential returns. That is a horror bench boost, isn't it? Could you imagine bench boosting that? I was looking at it thinking, how far away am I? Yeah, no, that's a big no for me. I need a wild card to sort out my bench. My bench is sickeningly disgusting to look at. I mean, next week it doesn't look as bad because Enzo's got Southampton at home. I can't believe I still own Enzo Fernandez. I don't see a reason to use a transfer on a manager if not a table bonus. I get it. I kind of said the same thing, Jeremy. I said the same thing. Especially for a hit. Especially for a hit. Bench one of Trent, Gabriel, Hall, or Robinson. That's a tough one, Lima. I would bench... Can't bench Gabriel, wouldn't bench Hall. It's one of Trent or Robinson again. Comes down to Trent versus Robinson. I should actually run a poll, shouldn't I? Let me run an assistant manager poll. Table bonus manager. Keeping slot / Emery. Iraola. Or chip. Not active. Right, I'm running a poll right now for assistant manager. I've got table bonus manager, which would be GLASNER, McKenna, Urich, any of the managers that get the table bonus. I've got then keeping slot / Emery. Then I've got Arteta, Hertzler, Iraola. These are like the non-table bonus, but you've just got a good feeling they get the win. And I've got assistant manager chip not active. Hopefully that makes sense. It's a bit of a weird poll, but that's the best way I can think to do it. If you're going for Thomas Frank or Eddie Howe, just vote for the Arteta, Hertzler, Iraola option. Basically, that option is you're going for a manager that doesn't get a table bonus. Sell Gordon to Mbeumo for a -4. I wouldn't take a -4 hit for Mbeumo this week, no. I wouldn't take a hit for it. By the way, guys, if you are enjoying the stream, can I please ask you to like and subscribe? We're very close to hitting 146,000 subscribers. We're 2 away at the moment. So if you could please hit that subscribe button and hit that like button, I would really appreciate it. Rodgers or Sarr out for Dango? If yes, which one? Yeah, I'd probably sell Rodgers before Sarr, just because Sarr's got Ipswich at home in 28. Yeah, I'd sell Rodgers first, then Sarr. Bench Rodgers or Rao? Oh, that's a tough one. I'd probably start Raul Jimenez unless you're going for a GLASNER, and then you might want to, again, put all of your eggs in one basket. Do a captaincy poll. Yeah, I'll do a captaincy poll in a second, absolutely. Yeah, I'll let this assistant manager poll run for 5 minutes, and then we'll do a captaincy poll. Let me know in the chat who you're captaining. Spam in the chat who you're captaining. Just so that I know which options to put. I think the 3 top options is probably Salah, Isak, and Mbeumo. Remember, I can only have 3. My assistant manager is Marco Silva. Fair play. Yeah, I'm really considering Isak. Do you know what? I think if I didn't go for GLASNER, I might have taken a risk on captaincy, but I feel like I'm already taking a risk with the assistant manager. Do I also want to take a risk on captaincy? Yeah, I think on the poll then, I know a lot of people are looking at Wissa or Kluivert, but in the poll, do you know what? Oh, string cut out. That's no fun. Hello? Why are we cutting out like that? That came out of nowhere. Can you hear me, chat? Am I back? Whoa, that is not good. Are we back? Where'd that come from? I think we're back. I might have never left, but I think I left. Dear Lord, my computer just died. Hello, you are back. Laggy eggy. Eggy laggy. Laggy egg. Lag egg. I thought that was my internet. No, that wasn't your internet. It wasn't even my internet. That was my computer just broke down. It might have been an OBS issue, actually. Yeah, because my computer looks good and my internet looks good. That might have been an OBS glitch, lag sort of thing. Anyway, we're back. Sorry about that. All I was saying was that... I can't even remember what I was saying. Anyway, moving on to answering your questions. Slot, Kluivert, Watkins, or GLASNER and Mbeumo Cunha? I prefer the GLASNER and Mbeumo Cunha combination, but I obviously wouldn't sell the top 3. So I don't know what you're asking for, Tariq, but in isolation, I prefer the bottom 3. Luke R says, assistant manager slot, 2 free transfers. I have no wildcard and no free hit. Okay. Roll until 29 up to 5 free transfers or make any moves. Team same as yours, apart from Kirkes instead of Trent, Kluivert instead of Dango, and Allison instead of Pickford. Yeah, do you know what? I'd be pretty happy just rolling. I mean, I would also be tempted to sell slot because I think there is upside to attack. But if you don't want to do that, your team's looking good. Kirkes in place instead of Trent. I would either sell slot or just roll. But yeah, I think rolling in the meantime is absolutely fine. I've got Hall, Munoz, and Howson and GLASNER. Should I start Hall over Munoz or back Palace with Munoz? I think you're already back in Palace quite a lot. I just think Hall is a better option than Munoz, so I would start Hall ahead of Munoz to me. Start Wood, Wanyeri, or Dango. Oh, that's such a tough one. I'd probably go Dango of those three. Alanga to Dango, slot to Glasner for a -4. Alanga to Dango feels good. Alanga to Danga. Alanga to Danga. Alanga to Dango feels good. Slot to Glasner for a hit. Again, I would absolutely do it if you think Crystal Palace win. If you're unsure, don't take a hit to sell your assistant manager. I'm trying to keep my advice consistent this week. Right, I'll end that poll there because lots of people want a captaincy poll. But basically, 42% of people are going after the table bonus. 36% are keeping Slot or Emery. And then there's 11% going for someone like Arteta. And then 10% not active. So basically, roughly speaking, half of the people that have the assistant manager chip active are just sticking with Slot or Emery. And then roughly half are chasing the table bonus. And there are a few people that are moving to Slot, Hurtsler, etc. Sirens in the background. See, this is what I'm saying. People can hear the sirens in the background. People then say they can't hear the sirens in the background. Right. What was I doing? A captaincy poll. Captaincy poll. Salah. Isak. Mbermo / Wissa. Other. Right, there's a captaincy poll coming your way. I've gone Salah, Isak, Mbermo / Wissa. Basically, are you back in the Brentford boys? And then other. I know Kluivert's quite popular. Just obviously vote for other if you're going that way. Or Trossard or any of those options. Isak, how is he even a choice? He's got the highest projected goals along with Salah of any player this week. I think he's a really good choice. In fact, I'm still tempted. I could potentially change my mind in the next hour and go for it. Thought I'd show you the egg there whilst I took a swig. Fun people vote Mbermo Wissa when Brentford had 2 away wins this season. I don't buy too much into the home and away stuff, but yeah, they are slightly weaker away. They are slightly weaker away. Punting on Matoma for upside, free hit 29. Am I mad? Not mad by any means. I think the upside's there this week. Beyond this week, I don't think there's that much upside for Matoma, especially given the way that Brighton are playing. But I'm not going to put you off a punt like that. Matoma's been looking quite good recently, so you never know. Start Gakpo, bench him, and play Rodgers. Okay, or sell to Cunha for a hit. I just play Rodgers. I don't think Cunha is 4 points better than Rodgers this week. I think, given the fixture, I don't expect Wolves to score too many goals. I think Villa probably score an equal number of goals. So yeah, I think if it was for free, I'd be tempted to do it, but I'd just play Rodgers probably. Hopefully that helps, Simon. Blackfinch says, hi Ross, in your opinion, is this a role? Pickford, Fabianski. Okay, looking at your team now. Yeah, it's a role. I think you could make a move, which would just be Ahmad out and then bench Rodgers. So you could do Ahmad out to Dango or Ahmad out to Wanyeri. So I don't think it's like a 100% definite role, but it's not far off, yeah. Your weak link is probably like Ahmad and Colwill. Colwill's got great fixtures over the next 2 after the Villa game. And Ahmad, obviously, you can deal with next week. So yeah, I don't think you need a move, but I would be tempted. Blicky94 says, hi Ross, no free hit 29, 1 free transfer with 5 blankers. Okay, and Ahmad, thinking Gakpo to Cunha / Wissa, but can't pick. Don't like their fixtures through to 30, wildcard 31. Bench Crystal Palace players in 29. Yeah, could you not just do Ahmad to Dango or Wanyeri then if you just don't fancy Gakpo to Cunha or Wissa, and then just keep Gakpo for a little bit? Surely Ahmad is more of an issue than Gakpo. I would sell Ahmad first. If you're going to choose between Cunha and Wissa, I do think Cunha's a better player to transfer in, but Wissa is much better for this week. So if you want to attack the short-term Wissa, long-term Cunha, I'd sell Ahmad though. But it's a nice plan overall. And thank you for the support as always, my friend. JM says, hey bud, I jumped the gun and brought in Marmouche, okay? Forward... That is the loudest lorry ever. Forward line of Mateta, Isak, Marmoush. Did I make a mistake? No, not at all. You say jumped the gun, Jay. I don't think you're jumping the gun massively. It's a little bit early. Cunha is probably a slightly safer pick. Maybe Wissa has better fixtures. Could Marmoush score against Liverpool? Absolutely. I'm not going to make you feel like that was a massive mistake. Again, I would prefer Cunha and Wissa, but that doesn't mean it's a mistake. Bench one of Gabriel, Trent, Howson, or Robinson. Ooh, that's very tough. I'd probably... I think I'd start Howson, you know? I think I'd choose between Trent and Robinson's bench. And I would probably bench Robinson just, but I think it's close. Wesley says Enzo to Wanyeri. Okay, and bench Gakpo. Play Gakpo and bench Enzo. Play either and roll the transfer. I don't think you want to start Gakpo or Enzo this week, so I would do Enzo to Wanyeri. I think that's good. Bench one of Munoz, Robinson, Hall. In isolation, probably Munoz. I wouldn't bench Hall. I think it'd be between Robinson and Munoz for me. I've got a good feeling about Newcastle this week. I've predicted a 2-0 win for them, haven't I? So, no, listen. I think Wanyeri's a great pick. I don't think that's Arsenal bias at all. Start two of Dango, Semenyo, Wood. I'd probably go all in on Bournemouth and bench Wood. I could be disrespecting Forest. I seem to do that all the time. It could be that Forest get a win in this game. I just fancy Newcastle a little bit more this week. Ross, do you think Beto is a good option? I love Beto. Probably not as a captaincy, but yeah. Is Glasner locked in? Yeah, I mean, I've made the transfer. I can't change that now. And with the assistant manager, you can't change unlimited time. It's like transferring in a player. So I'd have to now sell Glasner for another transfer if I wanted to change it. So yeah, Glasner is locked in for me. I don't know if you've seen the key news part in the top left-hand corner of the screen, but the whole Palace team apparently are fit, and the whole team have trained all week. So that is a fully fit, full Palace team, with Wharton and Eze both getting a full week of training. If Wharton and Eze both start, I've got a good feeling about Palace. Imagine Glasner injured. Yeah, if Wharton and Eze can start, and especially if Eze can start. Wharton, I wouldn't be surprised if Wharton doesn't get a start straight away. But yeah, Eze starting would be massive, I think, overall. Sorry if there's a little bit of lag. Hopefully my voice is still coming through okay. Pick one between Marmoush, Cunha or Mateta. To transfer in, I'd probably go Cunha. Unless you're free hitting in 29, in which case Mateta's probably the one. Like, if you consider Palace's fixtures outside of 29, if you're on free hit 29, Palace are the team to target. Look at that either side. Ipswich and Southampton. Great. These two aren't perfect, but they're not awful. Brighton in 31's okay. And then you're probably looking to wildcard here anyway. So I would say if you're free hitting, I'd want to attack those fixtures there. Zenix says, Arteta in for slot for free sound alright. Just want a safe win, hopefully. Listen, if you just want to go for a safe win, as long as that's for free, I don't mind it. But I just think that there's not much upside in comparison to slot. Like, slot versus Arteta, I don't think you're getting a massive amount more from Arteta. Unless you've just not got a good feeling about Liverpool. Maybe you think that they're not going to win the game. Would you take a -4 for Silva out? Already took a -4 to get Gakpo and Ahmad out for Dango and Cunha. I'd probably keep Marco Silva then. Yeah, I mean, Fulham could win the game, absolutely. So I'd probably just keep Marco Silva. I love the variety that we're seeing right now with the assistant manager chip, though. Like, that's the one good thing about the chip, is that everyone's playing it very differently. Like, I've seen people go for Potter and Arteta. I've seen people go for Iraola and Vitor Pereira. We've got someone in the stream that's got Marco Silva, and I've just gone and bought Glasner, right? So I do like that at least it's not everyone just playing it on the same managers. There is a bit of variety in it. Sorry, just smacked the mic. You've got 54 minutes till the deadline, by the way. 54 minutes. As I always say, there is a bit of delay between me speaking and what you can see on your screen and the actual time. So it might be more like just under 53 minutes. So don't rely solely on the counter, but hopefully that gives you a bit of an idea. Bench one of Robinson. I did that one, didn't I? Okay, so I got Isaac says, I got slot Salah Trent, but I want to captain Mbermo. Yeah, that's fine. I don't think you having slot Salah and Trent has any indication on who you captain. I guess I know you're saying that you're basically backing Liverpool quite heavy. I think Mbermo's a great captain. I've got no issues with it. I'm not quite there myself. If Mbermo smashes it, I'll still be happy. But yeah, I'm just not quite there. I just think he's just not quite been at it, has he, Mbermo? He's got 1 goal in the last 5 games, and that was a penalty that was taken twice. His data has been really decent. 0.67, 0.36, 1.16, although 0.78 of that's a pen. 0.59, 0.6. Right. Are we back? I think we're back. If anyone's still here at this stage. What on earth was that about? Never had that happen before. Hello. Are we back? Woo. Yeah, sorry. Literally just had to sit there and wait. My internet just cut out. It's not even slow today. It literally it keeps cutting out completely. Hopefully it's fine now. We're back in business. Thank you for coming back. I appreciate it. And we'll get back to answering your questions. Where was I? It's not very happy. Might not be able to make it to the end of the stream at this rate. Still go Dango after the Even Ilson news or Clivert? I think if you've got the money, Clivert's probably the safer one. So yeah, probably Clivert now. Cheaper option than Mbermo. The Bournemouth midfielders, Wanyeri or Trossard, would be your cheaper midfielders than Mbermo. Punt on Matthias Tell. I think Tell's probably going quite under the radar, actually. Yeah, I don't mind it. I've not really considered him, but when I look at the fixtures, they're quite good. His data's been okay. I thought my internet cut out or something. Sorry, mate. Yeah, no, that was me. That was all on my end. What are your opinions on Hertzler for assistant manager? I like it, actually. He's probably my second favourite safe manager. So Arteta, then Hertzler. I probably prefer Hertzler to someone like Iraola. Palmer against Villa High Line, he's due a haul. I don't believe he's due a haul, but I mean, he is Cole Palmer, and I do agree that it's the sort of fixture that you could imagine would suit Cole Palmer, so maybe. Maybe. What about Arsenal's star striker, Marino? I still don't know that he definitely starts, and does he get more than 60 or 70 minutes? I'm not sure, so I don't know that I'd go for Marino. Nkunku grab for next week. Nkunku's a very cheeky 2-week punt. I just think if you're struggling for transfers to build towards blank game week 29, going for a short-term punt on Nkunku is probably not the one. Why did you transfer in Dango instead of Clivert? Money. I like the position that he's playing in, and he's lower owned. So it's just a bit of fun attacking a little bit. Like, my team is a little template, but also like, I want to really push on from here. I'm in the top 100k. If I can go for a slightly lower owned asset that's a little bit cheaper, I'll do that. I don't think there's much between them all. Clivert's probably slightly safer for minutes in the long term than Dango, and he's on penalties and set pieces. So objectively, Clivert probably is a better pick. Now, is he, 0.9 million better? I don't know about that one. Start Hall/Robinson and Wood Isaac Mateta. Start Hall or Robinson. I would start Hall and start Wood Isaac Mateta. You have to bench one of them, John. I'd bench Wood out of those three. Yeah, I'd bench Wood. Arsenal's fixtures. Arsenal have okay fixtures overall. They're not awful. West Ham this week's good. Forest United, Chelsea, Fulham, Everton, Brentford. Like this little run here, this starts to get really nice. Over here, you'd say they're sort of average fixtures. There aren't any in there that you desperately not want to have an Arsenal player for, though. Oh, stop misbehaving for once. Ross, I'm doing a dissertation on biases and behavioural economics. Would love you to participate. Where could I send that? Email is your best chance, and I would try my best to answer it. Over the weekend, I probably won't, but I'll try to get to it next week. So, yeah, just email it to me. Munoz over Hall or Canate? I'd play Munoz over Canate. I wouldn't play Munoz over Hall, though. Juric assistant manager since he's the only one that could get the 10-point bonus. He's not the only one that could get the 10-point bonus. All of those teams highlighted in blue could get the 10-point bonus. If you want to know, if you want to know who gets the table bonus, which means they get 16 for a win rather than 6, and they get 8 for a draw rather than 3, it's the teams highlighted in blue. So you've got Ruud van Nistelrooy against Brentford, Potter against Arsenal, Pereira against Bournemouth, GLASNER against Fulham, McKenna against Spurs, or Juric against Brighton. Those are your options there. So don't go for Juric because he's the only one that gets the bonus, because 5 other managers will as well. Anderson or Trent? I'd go Trent there because Anderson doesn't have that much attacking threat. Wolves could cause an upset this week. Absolutely. Any of those 6 teams could cause an upset. That's FPL. That's football. That's the joy of the Premier League. Only 39 people like the stream, Ross. On my end, it says 725, but it might have re-updated after it crashed. So Robinson or Hall? I prefer Lewis Hall this week. Rodgers or Rao? If you've got GLASNER, I would probably go Rodgers. But if you've not got GLASNER, I think Raul Jimenez just about ahead of Rodgers. Welcome to the FPL Eagle page. Guaranteed 1-0 Fulham with a Robinson assist. Yep, it's written in the stars, isn't it? Dave says, I've got GLASNER in and Mbermo captain. This is what being 2.6 million rank will do to a man. GLASNER in and Mbermo captain are just categorically decent decisions. I don't think that shows that you're 2.6 million. If you told me you've done those 2 things, I wouldn't guess your ranks in the millions at all. So I like it, Dave. What are your transfers? I've already made my 2 transfers. I could make a third, but I've already done Dango in for Rodgers and GLASNER in for Slot. Chris says, hey Ross, thanks for the Amad to Wanyeri shout. Hadn't considered him. Wanyeri gets 9 and Amad gets injured. 105 points this game week. Love the stream. I love to know that I do occasionally give good advice, Chris. I do think the Amad injury was quite, I'm going to say fortunate. I don't mean fortunate, of course, but fortunate for you if you've sold him. But still, I think Wanyeri's great, yeah. So I'm glad that worked out for you immediately, mate. And thank you for the support as always, Chris. Hi, Ross. Slot and Pedro to GLASNER and Cunha -4. Slot and Pedro to GLASNER and Cunha -4. If you need them, could you just do the... No, do you know what? I'm just going to say yes, Michael. Yeah, I don't mind that. I don't love taking a hit, but overall, that's nice. What would be your third transfer if you made one? It would be Enzo out for Cliver or Wanyeri. And then I would bench Chris Wood. So if I brought in Wanyeri or Cliver, I'd play them. I mean, it's an option. I'll consider it over the next 45 minutes or so. Everyone's sleeping on Marmoush. Crazy. Mate, you can't say people are sleeping on a player that's just got a hat-trick. You're making it sound like you've just identified a sleeper option. Also, he's got Liverpool this week. Right. Any news today? I think the big news today I've covered in that key news section on the graphic. So Gakpo's a close call, but we found that out yesterday. Even Nilsson is not far from a return. That's probably the biggest news today, just in terms of as soon as he's back, it does put Dango's minutes at a slight risk. Maybe even Kluivert loses some overall mins as well. So that's a slight worry, but not massive. And then the whole Palace team is fit and available and they've trained all week. So Eze and Wharton, you'd imagine, are in contention. And he did confirm that Eze is now ready to start because he said Eze was struggling with a little issue. And also Pep doesn't know if Haaland will be fit to play. I have no idea if Haaland... I can't read into that too much, but that was what he said. Wanyeri plays in 29. Yep. Or is it better to go Trossard Marino? I still think he'll be playing then. Trossard's safer for long-term minutes, but I think Wanyeri will still be safe for Game Week 29. I don't think they'll rush Saka back, especially when Wanyeri's playing so well. Like, what is the need to rush Saka back? It's not like Wanyeri's been performing terribly, and as soon as Saka's back, they need him. Obviously, Saka is a much better player. We know that, but yeah, I don't think they'll rush it. How far will Ahmad's price sink? It will sink quite quickly because he was quite highly owned, but I don't think it will sink that quickly. I think you're probably looking at like 0.1 a week, maybe 0.2. I don't think it will drop much more than that. How many doubles? What do we have for the remainder of the season? 32, 33, and then maybe 36. That's our remaining doubles. That'll be it. 33 is the biggest. 32 will be a little one. And then 36 could also be another little one, depending upon the FA Cup final results. Also, there is still a small possibility that they reschedule the Game Week 34 blank, some of them, for the Game Week 36 double. So basically, yeah, 33 is almost definitely the biggest. 32 and 36 likely to be small ones. But there is also a world in which 36 is no longer a double. So somewhere between 2 and 3 double game weeks we'll have this season. If you hadn't activated your assistant manager chip, then when would you do it? I wouldn't do it this week. It would be either game week 31 to 33 or 36 to 38. To target the 2 to 3 double game weeks we've got. Clivert captain season, don't mind it. There are worse captaincy options that you'll see this season. Don't have a huge issue with it. What's your chip strategy? As things stand, my chip strategy is wildcard 31 or 32, bench boost 33, free hit 34. I've already used my triple captain and I've already used my assistant manager, so I've only got 3 chips left, which is wildcard, free hit, and bench boost. So yeah, wildcard 31 or 32, bench boost 33, free hit 34. Start Howson or Robinson. That's extremely close, like extremely close. I'd just say Howson, but there's not a lot in that. Start Van Dijk or Robinson. I'd go Robinson there. I'd go Robinson. When would the FA Cup quarterfinals be? The FA Cup quarterfinals are during Game Week 29, between 29 and 30. So the semi-finals cause the blanks in 34. They've basically given the FA Cup quarterfinals their own dedicated weekend. So therefore the FA Cup quarterfinals don't cause blanks anymore. Did you read FPL Schofield's tweet about Dango? I did. Yeah, I did. Yeah, he's not very happy, is he, with the Dango expected minutes, but we'll see. 2 transfers, Cunha, Ouattara, Beto, or assistant manager McKenna? I'm so confused by your question there, but I like all of those options. So yes to everything listed there. I just want to say thank you for being here, by the way. If you're enjoying the stream, I appreciate you being here every week. Especially if you are someone that tunes in every week. I appreciate you more than you know. There are lots of names that you just see every single week, and I appreciate that. What are you doing in Game Week 29? I have a lot blanking, so kind of stuck. Oh, come on now, computer. Just don't keep lagging. Just work. Just function like you are made to function. In 29, I've currently got Trent, Munoz, Mateta, Isak. Yeah, I've got 5 blanking right now, plus Vandenberg and Enzo as potential issues. So I'm looking at selling Trent to someone like 8 Nuri Kirkes, probably selling Mateta to Cunha, probably selling, I would imagine, one of Vandenberg or Enzo or both. Maybe Enzo to Clivert, Vandenberg to 8 Nuri or Howson, whichever one I don't buy there. So I'm probably looking at using 5 transfers. I reckon I might take up to a -8 hit, but potentially just a -4. I will be very surprised if I get through 29 without taking a hit. By the way, I realised last week, if you didn't tune into the stream when I realised, but I've not taken a single hit this season, which is crazy. Dango, Semenyo, or Wanyeri? In terms of long-term minutes, it's Semenyo. In terms of haul ability and upside right now, it's probably Dango or Wanyeri. I quite like Semenyo, but like if you're looking to attack right now, I'd go Dango. Dave says, play one of Colwell, Concert, Davis, or take a hit. I would just play one of the three of those. Who would I play? Maybe Leaf Davis. Get an attacking return. I mean, they're all probably conceding, I'd imagine. So I'd probably go Davis. Because I love him. Love Leaf. Darshill says 37 months. Wow, 37 months, mate. Over 3 years. What players would you bring in and what teams would you sell if no free hit 29? So I mean, you just sell players from the 4 teams that blank. But bear in mind that Liverpool in 28 have Southampton at home. And Crystal Palace in 28 have Ipswich at home. So if you're going to sell Liverpool and Crystal Palace assets, don't do it yet. Right? Wait until 29 to do it. In terms of who would I bring in, is basically Bournemouth players. Outside of Bournemouth players, I'd be looking at Arsenal, I still think are fine to bring in. And then maybe Wolves. Wolves, Bournemouth, Arsenal would probably be the 3 teams that I'd have at the top of my priority list. Thank you for the support, Darshil. Start Trent or Hall? I would start Lewis Hall. I'd start Hall and Wood and bench Trent there, George. Devash says, everyone's going for Dango. I'm leaning towards Brighton. Already own Cliver. Personally prefer spreading players. Minte or Matoma, too big a punt. I think I prefer Matoma because I think he's long-term and it's a little bit more secure. If you really don't want to go for double Bournemouth mids, I don't mind. I think I would prefer Wanyeri to the Brighton mids, though. Brighton's attack has been really poor recently. Overall, I know they've had a couple of games. They beat Chelsea 3-0, but overall their attack hasn't been quite there. They're not creating that many chances. I wouldn't say it's too big a punt, but I probably wouldn't do it. Trina says, hi Raptor. Hi Trina, thank you for the support as always. Would you start Henderson or Pickford? I'd start Pickford. I currently have Sarr, Munoz, Henderson from Palace. So I'm not sure if I should swap out for Glasner or take a wild punt on McKenna. I would largely ignore the players that you own when you're choosing between Glasner and McKenna. I think they're both good options. They've both got an equal chance of winning if you look at bookies odds. So take your pick. So whoever you prefer at Glasner and McKenna. But I would start Pickford, I think. Having the home fixture. I mean, I've predicted Everton to win 1-0. United are all over the place with injuries, with tactics. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't score in that game. Semenyo, Cunha, Dango, who to bench? I mean, it's arguably... See what way you predict the game's going to go. If you think that Bournemouth absolutely smash it, bench Cunha. If you think there's goals for both teams, I'd probably bench Semenyo. I wouldn't bench Dango. I'd bench one of Semenyo or Cunha. Got really itchy head. Valdemar says, Gakpo, Ahmad to Wanyeri, Cunha, or slot to Glasner. I love the Wanyeri Cunha transfers. I'd get those 2 done. And then if you've got a free transfer to slot to Glasner, still go for it. If you want to take a hit, go for it. But I would prioritise those player transfers, I think. Emery to Glasner using the free transfer. Yep, I'm a big fan of that. No issues there. Thor says, update from the feud. Trent versus Van Dijk, the decider last week. Wife benched 23 points, though. So give her a hug through the internet. I'll give you a hug as much as possible. Wow, 23 points on the bench. I've not had many bench hauls this season, so incoming Robinson and Enzo outscoring my entire team. I feel like your wife's very unlucky, Thor. Tell your wife that I think, unless she's listening, in which case, hello, Thor's wife. I forgot your name, but I think you've been very unlucky this season, from what I can tell. Okay, I never know how to pronounce your name because I think it's like Greek. But I'm reading your team out. Thank you for the super chat. And you've asked 3 free transfers, 2.6 in the bank. Already made 1 transfer. Rodgers to Dango. What to do and who to bench. Okay. So bench-wise, I would bench Sells and start Henderson. In your defence, I would bench Mikalenko and Munoz. And then in your attack, I think you've probably got to bench Chris Wood there. No, João Pedro. Sorry, I didn't see João Pedro. Yeah, I'd bench João Pedro. In terms of transfers, I don't think you really need to make a transfer. I think the only thing that you could do is sell Slot for a table bonus manager. Hopefully that helps, mate. But yeah, I think the team's looking pretty strong. I would bench João Pedro, Sells, Mikalenko and Munoz. And I would Yeah, and I think I will do slot to a table bonus manager. Jason with the big super chat. Thank you, my friend. Very, very kind. Says, hi, Ross. Thanks for the great content. Would you start Flecken or Pickford? Oh, that's actually a really tough one. Because I think Everton are a better defence and Man United are rubbish. Like, in my predictions, I've got Everton keeping a clean sheet and Brentford not keeping a clean sheet. I think I would still start Pickford, which is crazy to say, isn't it? Like, in my head, that's crazy to not start a keeper against Leicester. I think I'd start Pickford still. I think I would. Ben Malia says, Wanyeri and Cunha or Dango and Wissa? Oh, that is a really tough one. Wow, Ben. Dango and Wissa, just about. Charlie Steer says, 3 of Trent, Gabriel, Hall, Lacroix and Luca Dean. I think I'd start your first 3, mate. Trent, Gabriel and Hall. Trent, Gabriel and Hall would be the 3 I'd start, Charlie. Thor said, the question never asked, slot to Arteta or roll? I would roll. I wouldn't make that move. I think slot probably gets the win, in which case Arteta's not going to massively outscore him. Unless you've got a really good feeling that he doesn't, then you can, of course, go for Arteta. Trust your gut feeling more than my opinion is generally my advice that I would give. Glasner or Hertzler for the next 2, or keep slot? It will be for free, and Hertzler may have bonus against Bournemouth next weekend. Have a good weekend, mate. Thank you very much. I'd be interested in Glasner as well, by the way, because Glasner might have bonus in consecutive weeks. So Glasner might give you bonus. Hertzler gives you better fixture bonus. I think the other option is Vitor Pereira will definitely give you double bonus. I think I would go Glasner for the opportunity for double bonus. I think I would just go Glasner, but I do like the idea of Hertzler because you have that bit of a banker this week plus the additional option of a bonus next week. But then if he doesn't have the bonus next week, Hertzler, you've basically had 2 fixtures with no bonus, and next week's game is tough. So yeah, I think I would go Glasner still. If you're, that's for anyone, by the way, that wants the assistant manager for 2 consecutive weeks rather than just 1. Right, I'm gonna have to hide Big Barry. Big Barry's just come into the chat and just typed in, who wants my wood? No one, Big Barry. We're not that kind of live stream here. Are you in favour of Arteta or Glasner for free? I would rather go all in for the table bonus, I think. That's very easy for me to say, though, because I've been on slot for 2 weeks, right? I'm a little bit bored. I want to chase some upside, some excitement. If you've had maybe Emery and Moyes over the last couple of weeks, maybe you just want a bit of safety in your life. You know? On a -4 already, would you go -8 for slot to Glasner/Arteta? I don't mind slot to Glasner for it. I wouldn't do slot to Arteta for a hit in any world because there's not enough upside to really justify the hit in a single week. Slot to Glasner for an extra hit is fine, but only if you really, really fancy it, you know? Thoughts on keeping Emery? I have no issue with keeping Emery or slot. No issues at all. I've predicted an Emery win in my predictions, as you can see, so I've got no issue with that. Howson or Munoz? I think I'd marginally go Howson because he's got a greater chance for a clean sheet, I think. But Munoz has really good attacking threat, so it's a tough one. Start Cunha or Wanyeri? I might go Wanyeri, you know? I might go Wanyeri. I've got a spare 2 million. Should I activate the assistant manager? I probably still wouldn't, no. Like, there's no doubles to attack over the next 3 weeks. So you're immediately losing a fixture on top of some people. For those that played it in 24, you're 2 fixtures down. I probably wouldn't activate the assistant manager if you've not already. I felt like I was the only one keeping Emery. Actually, 30% of people with the chip active this week on Slot and Emery and the polls that I've run are keeping Slot and Emery. So a lot more people than you realise. I think probably up to about half of people probably aren't moving the assistant manager chip this week. It will feel like everyone is, but not everyone is, you know. Any Brentford team news yet? I haven't seen anything, but I don't know that we will. Like, we don't have many Brentford in the no accounts. There is one guy, I think he's called Talking Bees. I'm not going to use my computer because it's so laggy at the moment. So I'll just type it on my phone and see if I can find it. I think they're called Talking Bees. And they often... No, that's maybe it. Is it Talking B? Oh, what's his name? It's not Talking Bees. It's something along those lines. Does anyone know? There is a Brentford account that does sometimes tweet early team news. It's something along the lines of... Can't remember. Talk Bees. Oh, you might be right, Lukey boy. Talk Bees. Yes, you are. What a legend. Is this the guy? Is this the guy? This might be the guy. No, but the account doesn't look quite right. Maybe. Anyway, I'll keep an eye on it. Basically, there is one account that sometimes tweets early team news. Have you locked in GLASNER? Yeah, as I say, it works like transferring in a player, so I can't now change GLASNER. I can, but it would require an extra transfer. Yeah, it is TalkBees. Okay. So this is the account. TalkBees. I should probably follow TalkBees, but this account, I think it is anyway, sometimes tweets some early stuff. Not that they necessarily will for a game like this, but you never know. I think there was another account. I don't think that necessarily was the... Anyway, it doesn't matter too much. I'm sure Wisser and Mbermo both start anyway. Considering Clivert for captain, thoughts? Yeah, we spoke about that earlier. I've got no issue with Clivert captain. Sorry about the lag, by the way. Hopefully it doesn't make it unwatchable. It should only hopefully be the video. The audio should be okay. Wisser or Cunha for Dead End 29? Dead End 29, I'd go Wisser then. Probably, just about. Like, if you've got a chance, if there's a chance that you don't wildcard in 30 and you might wildcard in 31 or 32, I'd probably go Cunha at that point. You've seen that Gian is on Potter. Yeah, I did. If you're Pickle in the chat, I think a lot of people are forgetting that some people rolled a free transfer for assistant manager last week when others moved from Moyes to Emery. I think a lot of the people who are moving to another manager are those who had slot for 2 game weeks. Yeah, potentially. I also think that a lot of people are still going to go from Emery again. So Moyes, Emery, someone else. Keep chasing the table bonus. I think there's justification to do any number of things this week with the assistant manager. Like, no one knows. No one can predict the future, right? Trust your gut feeling. Hey Ross, slot Rao to GLASNER Wisser. Then next week, Ahmad Jow to Wanyeri Cunha. Also for this week, that set of moves, Shaunax, lovely. Yeah, I like that plan. Also for this week, start 3 of Gabriel, Munoz, Trent, Kirkes, Miko. I'd probably play Gabriel, Trent, and Kirkes and bench Munoz and Mikalenko if it was me. We'll make my moves now. Yeah, listen, guys, like, by all means, wait until close to the deadline. And if I get early team news, I'll share it with you. But I think largely you're probably okay to make your moves. Unless your move is to buy in Burmo or Wisser, then I guess you can wait for like another 10, 15 mins, 20 minutes. But if your moves are just like buying a Bournemouth mid, then I'll just go for it. Pickle, what we have for dinner tonight? Talk to me. I'm so hungry already. Hey, Ross. Trent, Hall, Robinson, and Mikalenko. Bench 1. I'd probably bench Mikalenko there. Also, would you do Rodgers to Wanyeri for a hit? Not for a hit. For free, I like it. Not for a hit, Hassam. Get a cheeky Nando's. I think our 2 options will be an Indian takeaway or a Pirifino's, because Pickle lives in Birmingham and Pirifino's slaps. If you're from Birmingham, hopefully you agree. It might be in some other places. I don't know. It's not available around the UK though. But if you've had a Pirifino's before, slaps. Hey, hope you're doing well. I'm doing well, thank you, OJ. Thank you for asking. Bench Wood or Dango? I think I'd bench Wood. Slot to GLASNER for a hit. Slot to GLASNER for a hit, once again, is absolutely fine if you really feel good about it. Don't do it for the sake of doing it just because you might as well chase some table bonus. Like, I feel like you've got to feel pretty strongly that it's a good option. Thoughts on captaining Wissa? Yeah, do you know what? The closer we get towards the deadline, I like Wissa more and more as a captaincy option. I'd be considering it if I owned him. Like, he's a really high upside player. He gets so many chances. God, this might be the most my computer has ever struggled with a live stream. It might be finally coming to its end. I wanted to try and make it through this season and upgrade in the off season, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to at this rate. Please just function like a computer should function. You know, it's a Mac. It should function, but it doesn't. I might move away from Apple. I'm an absolute Apple fanboy, but I might move away from an Apple computer, chat. Might have to do it. Nathan says, hey, Ross, hope you're doing well. With which three would you start out of Trent, Munoz, Gabriel, Robinson, Hall? I would start Trent, Gabriel, and Hall and bench Robinson and Munoz, Nathan. Adnan says, best assistant manager for the next 2 game weeks, currently on Emery. Iraola? For the next 2 weeks, it's Glasner or Hertzler for me. Glasner or Hertzler. Start Gakpo or Rodgers? I'd start Rodgers. Asa Helios slaps. Get the Legion PC. Do you know what? After the deadline, if you've got PC knowledge, if you're good with computers, can you stay for 5 minutes after the deadline and I'll make a note of some of these? I don't want to do it right now, but if you can stay after the deadline, I'll ask for people's opinion and I'll do some research. Sorry, Dylan. I'm getting to the super chats now, mate. My computer's having a nightmare and it just froze. I'm trying. Give me a second. Rodgers to Bournemouth mid for a -4. If so, which one? If you want security of long-term minutes, Dylan, I'd go Semenyo. If you want penalties and set pieces, go Kluivert. If you want high upside in the short term, Dango. If you're wildcarding around 30, 31, I reckon Dango's probably got the highest upside. If you are not wildcarding until 35 or you've got no wildcard left, I'd go Semenyo. And then I think Kluivert is good in both situations. Kluivert is probably objectively the best Bournemouth midfielder to buy. That's why he's the most expensive. It's why he's been brought in by the most people. Chasing 80 points. Is it time to go differential captaincy? I think 80 points is quite a lot. Maybe this is a good week to go differential captain. Yeah, not every week, but in the right weeks. Yeah, probably. Khan says, should I take a -4 for Gakpo, Rodgers to Matoma and Wissa? 2, Captain Kluivert / Dango instead of Salah, Wood, Watkins. Or 3, start 2 of Trent, Robinson, Hall. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, so the first answer to your first question, Gakpo and Rodgers to Matoma and Wissa. I don't love Matoma. I probably prefer Wanyeri, but listen, Matoma's a fine option. He's got Southampton this week, so yeah, maybe. I don't mind that as a -4. Would I captain Kluivert or Dango ahead of Salah, Wood, Watkins? Probably not, no. And start 2 of Trent, Robinson, Hall. Probably Trent and Hall for me. Can you talk through Glasner over Hertzler? Table bonus. If you mean across the next 2 weeks, I just think you've got a chance of 2 lots of table bonus. With Hertzler, you've got the chance of no table bonus. So that's why I would go for Glasner over Hertzler. George says, help with the assistant manager. Got slot, who should I transfer to? I mean, that's almost too vague of a question. You're asking me to choose 1 out of 20. I've brought in Glasner, so I'm chasing the table bonus for Glasner. I think it is worth chasing the table bonus if you feel like you've got a good feeling about one of the managers. If not, it's Hertzler or Arteta. Rasco says, Diaz and Emery to Nkunku or Kluivert and Glasner -4. I probably would just go Kluivert. Kluivert and Glasner for a -4 for Diaz and Emery feels okay to me. Mohammed says, hi Ross. Hi Mohammed. Got 2 free transfers. Allison, Trent, Gabriel. Okay, you give me your team. Want make assistant manager. Sorry, Mohammed. Firstly, I don't know how much you've got in the bank. Secondly, I probably wouldn't use the assistant manager if you've not already activated it. And then I don't know if you're asking me if you would activate it or not. There's so many questions that I don't have the answer to. But basically, I wouldn't activate the assistant manager. I'd roll the transfer. Your team looks pretty decent there. Your only issue is Ndiaye, but you can bench him this week. If you don't want to bench him, then I'd probably sell Rodgers to a Bournemouth midfielder. Hope that makes sense. Move with Mike says Minte / Wissa or Sharda / Welbeck. Chasing in my mini league. I prefer Minte and Wissa, I think. Trina says, is Wanyeri a good long-term pick? Depends what you define as long-term. I think after game week 29, so from 30 onwards, I think Saka, Martinelli will come back into the picture. And so Wanyeri probably only gets you to game week 30. So I think if you're looking beyond 30, I don't love Wanyeri. That being said, Saka might have a setback. Martinelli might come back in, but it might be that Havertz, obviously without Havertz and Jesus there, it might be that Trossard, Martinelli, Wanyeri is the preferred front three. So it might be that Wanyeri continues to get great minutes, but I just don't know that. No worries, Mohammed. No worries at all. Why GLASNER when Fulham is the better team? I'm trying to explain this without sounding like a patronising person. Table bonus is almost always going to be for a worse team. Sometimes there will be a situation where you think there is, for example, with Spurs and Man United being so low down, if they go on a nice run and they face a team that you think they are inherently better than, maybe. But largely, if you are backing a team that is more than 5 places lower than their opponent, you are backing a worse team. So you could say that about every single table bonus in every single week is always going to be for a worse team. Are you going to retract your comparison to assistant managership on gambling? Not in the slightest. I back that fully. A lot of people got butthurt on Twitter about it for no good reason. I absolutely back that the assistant manager is more like gambling than regular FPL. I will absolutely categorically back that. I'm not saying that everyone that plays the assistant managership is now going to go on to gamble. Obviously not. That would be so sensationalized. I'm just saying that I think it blurs the lines more. It's not really a chat we need to have. You either feel that way or you don't. Me saying that's not going to affect whether it comes back next season, but I don't know why people are so upset about me saying that I think the assistant manager chip is more like gambling than regular FPL. You are literally betting on a binary outcome from a game or a 3-way outcome. Win, draw, loss. That's very gambly for me. That's just the way that I feel. Even the terminology, like I'm betting on this person winning this game, it just feels more like that, you know? Maybe people will disagree. Something we can chat about after the deadline if you want to for a little bit. But, sorry, my computer's going in and out a little bit. Shazam, good to see you, my friend. Made it back from Weymouth in time to say hi and listen to your wonderful knowledge of FPL. Great therapy this week. Really enjoyed it. Keep up the good work, mate. You've made me smile, my friend. Thank you so much for the support. You're way too generous, firstly. I'm glad you made it back in time, though. I hope the drive wasn't too bad. And thank you for the support, as always. And I appreciate the kind words for FPL therapy as well. You can bet on thousands of stats. No, I don't really want to get into this right now. I'll do it after the deadline. But the final thing is, I absolutely agree. Like, there are lots of comparisons between FPL and gambling, right? Absolutely, already. Like, if I'm predicting that Isak's going to score, well, then, yeah, you can put a 5 on Isak being the first goal scorer. Like, it's already closely linked. I just think that when you get into betting on teams, and when you're looking at the odds of one team being slightly lower than the other one in a certain game, it just feels like it's getting a lot closer to me. That's it. It just feels a lot closer. But yes, I agree that it's already very close. Bro, just get a new PC. It's literally your job and it's lagging. Thanks, Jonas. I appreciate you telling me how to spend my money. I'll get a new PC when I feel like it's appropriate. And right now I'm extremely busy. It's more the setting up the PC, finding a PC. I work like 100 hours a week. I don't have the time right now to research, buy one, set it up, get all my streaming software ready. But thank you for telling me that. Is this the final team, Rossi boy? It is indeed. I've got GLASNER and Dango coming in, and that's the two. Anyway, I was really sarcastic to that person because I didn't like the comment, but I am sorry that there is lag. I would obviously ideally like it not lagging. Start Munoz or Kirkes, says Chintan. Have GLASNER and Cliver and Dango. So you've got GLASNER. I would probably go Kirkes ahead of Munoz, Chintan. I think Kirkes is just ahead of Munoz for me. Did you take a hit? No, I've actually still got one free transfer left. I've got one free transfer left, and I've got 1.1 million in the bank as well. Ross, also deciding not to captain Salah. Who would you captain, Isak, Wood, or Wissa? It wouldn't be Wood for me. It would be Isak or Wissa. GLASNER and sarcasm is the deadline combo we need. Indeed, indeed. I'm also hangry as well. You don't want to test me when I'm hangry. Dear Lord, that's a scary thing to see. I get very hangry. I love you, Claudette. Thank you. Ross, the audio's fine. I'm playing Minecraft, so don't see the lag. That's good, T. Oh, I love Minecraft, by the way. Let me know what you're doing on Minecraft. If we don't free hit 29, when are we free hitting? So I think 34 will be the most popular, but I also think 33 and 36 is a fine week to free hit too. It's basically either in the other blank, which is 34, or you play it in a double game week. You are defo hangry. I'm starving. Like, I've eaten nothing today. Like, nothing at all. Scrambled eggs on toast, and that was it. And that was at like 11 a.m. Oh, I'm also just angry at my computer, man. I just why are you doing it? Like, when I look at all the specs and stuff, it shouldn't be lagging like that. Yeah, big up Minecraft, absolutely. How long? Just over 10 minutes until the deadline? Did you not have lunch? No, the scrambled eggs on toast was meant to be like a brunch, and it just didn't fill me up at all, really, I'll be honest. Trent for GLASNER? I don't even know what that means. If you're asking slot to GLASNER, then yeah. I think we need to give you some therapy, Ross, maybe. Maybe that's what I need right now. I need some food and a nice lay down. That's what I need. Is Trossard a good choice for captaincy? I really don't mind Trossard captain, actually. Have you tried turning it on and off again? Off and on again. Do you know what? I appreciate that comment. It does work a lot of the time. That Palace versus Fulham game tomorrow is going to be season-defining stuff. Trina says, hi again. Last question, I swear. You can ask as many questions as you want. Choose one to bench from Wood, Watkins, Isak, Dango, and Mbeumo, Nwaneri, Salah, Palmer. Choose one to bench. Oh, that's a tough one, you know. That might be the toughest one that I've been given today. I think it's Chris Wood, Trina. I think it's Chris Wood there. Just about, though. It's very close. Dennis says, yo, missed the deadline last week. Oh dear. What do I do here? 5 free transfers, 0.1 in the bank. Help and love. What do you do? So Murphy's a slight issue. Ndai's an issue. João Pedro's an issue. Honestly, Dennis, as much as I love you and I appreciate the support, I'd need to sit down with your team for like 15 minutes and go through all the permutations. Like, you've got 5 free transfers. You've given me all 15 players. I'd struggle to give you good advice, and I don't want to give you bad advice. But for me, as I'm looking at this, I would sell Bruno, Pedro, Ndai, and Murphy, and bring in players like Cunha, Wissa, Semenyo, Cliver, Dango, Nwaneri. Like, these are the players that I'd be targeting, but I'd need to work out funds, what your plan is for 29. There's no way that I can sit there and give you good advice. And as I said, I don't want to give you bad advice. But yeah, I'd be looking at getting rid of João Pedro and Ndai are probably the 2 biggest issues in your team. So that would be where I would start. Hopefully that helps at least a little bit. With Ethan Ilson close to being back, is it worth grabbing Dango or just grab Semenyo for safety? I'd probably just go safe with Semenyo, to be honest. Start Munoz or Rogers? Probably Rogers. Probably. Tyler. Computer, honestly. Tyler says, have Semenyo and Cliver. Very nice. Bring in Dango. Oh, I don't know about triple Bournemouth mid. I mean, a double I don't mind. Triple's a bit. If they only score 1 goal in a game week, that's a bit of a disaster. Or Nwaneri, so I can do Kirkes for 29. Yeah, I'd probably go Nwaneri in that case, Tyler. Any other defenders worth targeting for 29? I've looked at it. I still don't mind an Arsenal defender against Chelsea or 8 Nuri. I think 8 Nuri or a Wolves defender in general against Southampton is probably where I'll go outside of Bournemouth. I'm looking at probably Howson and 8 Nuri in for Game Week 29. That's my rough plan at the moment. Can you tell when it's lagging heavy? Yeah. I'm looking at OBS and I can tell exactly when it starts lagging. And there's nothing I can do to control it. And it's completely random as well. This is the thing. It's not like it does it the whole time. It will do it for like a 30-minute spell, and then it will be fine for 45 minutes. And then it will go off for like an hour. Like right now, it's just dropped for no reason. But it was fine for the 20 seconds before that, so I don't know. Would you start Diaz or Cunha? Ooh, probably Cunha. Cunha for the pens. Sell Gakpo to Cunha or Rodgers to Dango? Gakpo to Cunha. Although Rodgers to Dango is more of an upgrade this week. I'd try and do both, Russell, but probably Rodgers to Dango this week is better and Gakpo to Cunha the week after in terms of targeting fixtures. Hey, mate, start one of Mikalenko or Munoz. Proper 50-50, I feel. Keep it up. Yeah, Mikalenko's greater chance for a clean sheet, Joaquim, and then Munoz has greater chance for an attacking return. If you're chasing the big score, Munoz, if you want what I think is probably a safer sort of 6 points, Mikalenko. Like, I think Mikalenko's more likely to get you something, but Munoz is more likely to get you a big score. I guess it's a bit like an assistant manager table bonus. Like, Munoz can get you that extra attacking return, whereas Mikalenko's not that attacking. So I would probably go for Munoz for the upside, but Mikalenko's probably the slightly safer pick. Start Trent or Munoz? Probably Munoz. No, probably Trent ahead of Munoz. Oh my lord. I've never had my patience tested quite like this on a stream before. Like, it's doing my head in. I'm sorry for you guys watching. It's probably awful as well. But thank you for being here regardless. Start two of Robinson, Trent, Kirkes, Mikalenko. Kirkes and Trent, I think. Kirkes and Trent. Palmer, Semenyo, Kluivert, Mateta, Cunha. Drop one. That's probably Cunha there. Probably Cunha, just based on the fixture. Dennis said, I know, I'm thinking like you are, except thinking Haaland maybe, but I might just roll another week, honestly. Anyways, here's another donation for being effing awesome. Much love from Norway. Big love to you, mate. You don't need to be so generous, but thank you. I agree. I'd maybe use a couple of transfers, mate. Maybe just like remove João Pedro for a slightly decent option that's definitely going to start. Maybe just sort out like one or two of the issues. Maybe roll so you've got 4 free transfers and then assess. I agree, though. Do you know what? I didn't even think about that, Dennis. That if you've got all those free transfers, you might be in a position where you've got the flexibility to maneuver to Haaland. So maybe it is just worth keeping 4 or 5 of them held back. But thank you for the support. And big love to Norway as well. Norway is... I've never met a person that I don't like from Norway. Everyone from Norway is lovely, so thank you. AKU says, hey, Ross. Hello, AKU. I've got Slot, Rodgers, Ahmad, and 1 free transfer. Slot to Glasner, Ahmad to Dango, or both for -4. Ahmad to Dango would be my move that I would do, and then just to decide, is it worth doing Slot to Glasner for a -4? I would only do that if you've got a really good feeling. But thank you very much, AKU. But yeah, Ahmad to Dango would be the move. Start both Kluivert and Dango instead of Wood. Yes, I would do that, yeah. Thoughts on an Nkunku punt until I wildcard in Game Week 30? I don't mind that, yeah. I don't mind it. Especially if you're definitely wildcarding in 30, then yeah, I like it. Gakpo for Cunha, Mateta, Wissa, X Ahmad, Kluivert / Dango. What is this? What's happening? I see. Gakpo to Cunha, Mateta, Wissa, and then Ahmad to one of Kluivert or Dango. Yeah, I like both of those. I'd probably go Cunha, and I would go Ahmad to Kluivert. So Gakpo to Cunha, Ahmad to Kluivert. Bernard, I like that. Or Bernard. Cruzy says, play Pedro, Gakpo, or sell Pedro for Cunha. I would probably sell Pedro. Well, I'd probably sell Gakpo before Pedro. I'd probably keep Pedro and sell Gakpo. So I'd sell Gakpo for Cunha would be my move. You've got under 3 minutes until the deadline, by the way. Under 3 minutes. Would you have rolled if you only had 1 free transfer? I think I probably would have kept Slot, yeah. I wouldn't have rolled, but I probably would have done Rodgers to Dango and kept slot. Or I wouldn't have made the Rodgers to Dango move and I would have just made the GLASNER move. I don't think I would have made both my transfers, basically. Bench Palmer or Rodgers? Sounds wild, but need to chase 90 points. Have Watkins and Emery as assistant manager. If you've got Watkins and Emery, I would bench Palmer and go all in on Villa. Just hope that Villa win 2 or 3-0. Yeah, I think you're already all in on Villa and you're chasing 90 points would be my move, Lucas. Giacomo says, hi Ross, bench Semenyo, Dango, Wood, Watkins. I'd probably bench Chris Wood there. Chris Wood. It's absolutely disgusting though. Like really bad. Really, really bad. Luca Dean or Robinson? I'd probably start Robinson. Less than 2 minutes till the deadline. Get your teams locked in if you can even hear me at this stage. Don't even know what to say. Cunha or Rodgers? I would probably start Cunha. You should just smash the computer. I'm very close. How is it? It's telling me the bitrate is 0. 0 bitrate is... I could stream from a baked potato better. A literal baked potato would give me better internet and connection and stability. What is this computer doing? Do you know what? I'm going to try it next week. I'm going to plug an Ethernet cable into a potato and see if it works. Yeah, get your teams locked in. Bench order, absolutely. You've got less than a minute. Get your captaincy sorted. Get your vice captaincy sorted. Get your bench order in as well. Just make sure that you've not made any key mistakes with your team. In the meantime, if you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm just beating up my computer. I think Fulham Palace is scoreless. I would take that. That would be a 10-pointer. I would take a 10-pointer from GLASNER. A 0-0 would work for me. And I'd get the clean sheet from Munoz as well. Do that. Seen the show bookies on HBO. I've Cunha or Semenyo. I'd probably bench Cunha and I'd start Semenyo just. Right, that is it. We're probably locked by the time you can hear my voice. We are done. Crazy stream. Sorry about the not even the internet. Sorry about the lag, the visual lag. Hopefully the audio is still coming through. And I appreciate everyone that's being kind and saying they don't mind. I mind because I want it to be a good stream for you, but yeah. Right. I actually do want to stay for a little bit. Also, any PC experts, as I said, start hitting me up. I'm going to copy some of your recommendations in. But I'm also getting the train to Birmingham in like less than an hour, so I do need to shoot in a second. But I'll stay for like 5-10 minutes and then I'll shoot. Why is there an egg? Because I'm lagging so bad that I just don't even want my face on there, sadly. So you can look at the egg instead. It basically looks like me. It's the only difference. Oh, I need to tweak my team as well. Then buy a new camera. It's not the camera anymore. I've sorted the... The camera's not the issue, finally. It's my computer. Not locked yet? What do you mean not locked yet? We should be locked yet. Have they forgot to do the deadline? No, it's locked. PC recommendation. SRS. I see your egg, but your voice is intermittent. Okay, in that case, I'll go. If my... Yeah, do you know what? I'll just say, drop me an email or a DM or message me somewhere if you're a computer expert and you can still hear me. And